sighed, calming, and then said, "Oh. Oh, what? Oh, I just processed what you said a minute ago. You said blast from the past." "What?" "You said a blast from the past, but your voice changed when you said it. Was it a friend?" It was impressive, his ability to hear the subtle nuances in my voice. "Yes." "What kind of friend?" "He's a guy I went through basic with, who left after his initial 4 years of active duty. We stayed in touch after that, and we were close when I moved back to Phoenix, when I was stationed at Luke. He's a vice detective now." "And what is his name?" "Del Irving." He cleared his throat. "Did you have a boyfriend while you were there, too?" Very perceptive. "I did." "And what was his name?" "Novin Grace." "Novin," he repeated. "That's an interesting name." "Is it?" "You don't hear it often. I certainly never have." "Well, you've led a very sheltered life." "Yes, I have," he said matter-of-factly. "No, Roman, I was being facetious. You know, I don't think you... But since you've been the one doing the sheltering, if I'm naive about things, the fault lies with you, now doesn't it?" I had to think. I guess it does. "So, did Del and your ex, I assume he's an ex, he hasn't been pining for you for 11 years, has he?" "Of course not. That's ridiculous." "Well, I didn't want to assume. I would wait if it were me." "I'm going to hang up on you. If you insist on hanging up, I'll be on the next plane out there, so I suggest you rethink your strategy." The top of my head was going to blow off. I was calm, controlled in every facet of my life, except with Roman. The man annihilated my self-control. We broke up before I left. He was not waiting for me. "And breaking up with him, is that why you left?" "Yes." "Oh, I see. Now we're getting somewhere." "Ro, so tell me, did Del and Novin know each other?" That fast, he had figured it out. "They did?" He made a sound, a low hum. "So once you caught them in bed together, was that the end?" I was in a car with Tucker and Garrett. I was not about to unburden my soul in front of them. "What makes you think... So we're clear, I would never cheat on you." "Could you stop trying to... This is how it happened, isn't it? You caught them." "Yes." "And are you going to see them?" I thought about lying. It would be easier. "Yes." "When?" "For dinner." "Tonight?" "Yes." "I see." "Okay," I said gruffly. "I'll talk to... Don't sleep with them," he said flatly. "What?" "You heard me." "No, I don't think I did. I said don't sleep with them." "Roman, please," he implored. "I don't do more than one at a time," I said calmly instead of snarling at him and adding the in-bed part. "I'm not made that way. Alphas don't. Can't share." "Well, that's very good to hear. You're not made to be in a menage. It goes against your very nature." "Yes, there's only one mate." "I can't tell you how relieved I am to hear it." "Stop." "But that's what they wanted, right?" he whispered. "To be 3 in bed." It had been. I could still remember the pleading the day after, as I was throwing clothes in a duffel bag. Why can't we all be together? And I'd wondered at the time, as I still did, what in me had ever led them to believe I would be up for a threesome. At the time, I had been so close to shifting and showing them why. Showing them that as the consequence of their trespass, the man I thought was my mate would die as well as his lover. "Quaid?" "Yes," I said through clenched teeth. "Hold on." Roman did as I asked and was quiet as I made Tucker stop the car so I could get out. I had to be able to talk, and whispering like a teenager wasn't how the conversation was going to go. Tucker pulled over on the side of the road, and I got out and walked far enough away so no one would hear me yell. "Go ahead," I prompted him. "I'm merely clarifying," he said, sounding all matter-of-fact. "You said no to the menage because A, you're an alpha, like you said, and you don't share, and B, your heart was broken over Novin betraying you." I coughed. "What makes you think that?" Everyone wants you, and anyone who had you, even if he messed up, would want to find some way to hold on. You're biased. You think I'm worth more than I am. You can be so dense. Ro, I bet you were gone a lot too, weren't you? Deployed at different times on missions you couldn't talk about. And Novin needed you to be present in the relationship. He wanted you there for him, but you weren't. So he turned to your best friend to get what he had to have. You make it sound so romantic. It's not. It's cheating and I hate it. It's human. It's weak, he insisted. And he wanted what I'd had. Oh? What have you had? Don't sound such an on the planet. It's like we're married. It is not, I countered. It is. Arguing with him about anything was always futile. But tell me, what are you thinking now? What do you mean? I mean, you're planning to leave me, right? The pack is there, they need an alpha, and you could step into that role so easily. And Novin and Dell, that would be easy too. You don't know what you're talking about, I muttered crossly. No? No. They don't even know I'm a shifter, I yelled at him. I never told either one of them. His voice rose. You didn't? Hell no! Stop yelling, he scolded me. Then stop being an obnoxious brat. His breath caught, and his voice, when he spoke, was a whimper of need that ran right through me. Please come home. I will, I grumbled, aggravated with myself for calling, anxious about being away from him, and, most of all, angry. I was never unsure. I always knew the right thing to do. But now, with Roman, what seemed to be the correct choice wasn't settling at all well in my gut. My heart and head were always in sync, except for now. Don't fuck your ex, he repeated. I scoffed. I mean it. Don't. Are you threatening me? I am. Yes, don't. Even if I did, it has nothing to do with you and me. It has everything to do with you and me, he flared, his emotions getting the better of him. I can't stay with you you have no idea what you can and cannot do. Roman, don't fuck your ex, he rasped savagely. Don't fuck anybody. You sound like a raving lunatic. Because you make me into one. We were silent. All I could hear was his breathing. You know, I began softly, me making you crazy, that's not such a good thing. That's it, I'll be right there. You will not, I ordered him. It's not safe. So you're not safe. Not particularly. After a beat of silence, Roman said, I hate this. I'm too used to seeing you and hearing you, holding your hand and smelling you when we walk. I chuckled. You do not smell me. I do too. Oh, for Christ's sakes, Roman. You know I'm not going to sleep with anybody. No? Fuck no. There was only one person I wanted under me in bed. I have to go. I'll call you later. Yes, please. You're being stupid. Because you were purposely baiting me instead of simply giving me the words you know I needed to hear. Words are cheap. Actions mean more. Words secured by action are best. What the hell does that mean? You say, Roman, I won't sleep with anyone, and then don't. That's best. He was exhausting. You know I only want to sleep with you, I blurted out. His sigh was both annoying and sweet at the same time. Now, you see, was that so hard? I could actually visualize my hands around his throat, squeezing. You're thinking about throttling me, aren't you? He really did know me very well. Chapter 11. Reno Santos was on his knees in front of his home, next to his mate, when Tucker and Garrett and I arrived in his drive. Actions had endangered the lives of his beta and the family of his beta, and he didn't care. And I knew he didn't, because he never thought Reno Santos would keep to the covenant, because he himself would not. But his beta had been raised to honor and revere the code, and so, as a token of respect, he would pay for the attempt on my life with the life of one of his children. Sacrifice was mandated. Blood would be spilled for such a grievous trespass. Your family is beautiful, I said to the beta. Shall we go inside and get something to drink? He froze. His mate froze. I walked by both of them and headed for the front door. Alpha. I stopped and looked back at him over my shoulder. Call me Quaid. That's my name. Now, may I have that drink? He stood, but did so with difficulty, and I can only imagine why. The man had prepared to watch one of his children be slaughtered. You. This is the law, Quaid. Not to me, Renault. And it's the Alpha's place to either enforce our code or disregard it as he sees fit. Is that not so? Yes, he rasped, his voice raw as tears rolled down his cheeks. Alpha, his mate called over, pointing at me. I understood. She wanted to come to me. I lifted my arms for her. She rose gracefully and sailed over, leaping at the last minute and then hitting me hard, wrapping her arms around my neck as she dissolved into racking, happy sobs. For fuck's sake, I grumbled. Why am I making everybody cry? Because you're a blessing, she heaved out. When her mate reached us, the beta of the Ca Superius pack, he stood in front of me and tipped his head back, offering his throat in submission and loyalty. I am your servant, Alpha. I will never stand against you. I will only ever speak your name with reverence and support you without question. And because the only person I wanted to bite was Roman, I didn't have to test his resolve with a demonstration of fealty. I took hold of his shoulder and squeezed gently until he dropped his head and his gaze met mine. I really could use that drink. It's already been one hell of a day. Then it was his turn to hug me. 3 of us had come to the beta's home, and we were all out on their back deck, talking as Renault and April supervised their children in the heated pool. For most people in Phoenix, the middle of December was not a time to be swimming, but these were shifters, and more importantly, shifter children, so their body temperatures allowed it. When I was little, I told April, chuckling over the memory, my mother had to put away my shorts the first week of November, or I'd be in them in flip-flops year-round. She was always worried that she'd be warm. I have no doubt, she sighed, tipping her head as she regarded me. They're both well, you know. That's good. Will you, she coughed, see them while you're here? I'm not sure. I came to kill Ray, and that was all. I hope that doesn't upset you. She shook her head, leaning forward to take my hand. No, it doesn't. He's led the pack close to ruin, but... I waited. Will you stay with us afterward? No one wants me as Alpha, I explained to her. I don't think that's true. Of course it is. She tilted her head as she stared at me. You've been away from other jackals a long time, haven't you? Yes. It shows, she sighed. It's why you would think that. I think it's because it's the truth. No, Alpha, she shook her head. If you'd been around other jackals, you'd know because their reactions to you would have clued you in. I squinted at her, not understanding. April inhaled sharply, have been mated a very long time, Quaid Dinas, but still, the pull, the desire to be close to you is almost overwhelming. My gaze found her husband. I feel the pull just as sharply, Renault confessed. You're absolutely vibrating with power. I felt the same as always, aside from missing Roman. We haven't had a seer, a blood Alpha, in this pack since Dion, Renault reminded me. You know that. I did. Maybe I should leave as soon as Ray's dead.